Welcome to LaunchCode with Mike and Paul, two industry veterans who will take you on their exciting adventure building their software company from the ground up. Get ready for cutting-edge tech insights, candid stories, and a whole lot of fun along the way. Welcome to their amazing adventure. Welcome to LaunchCode.
Welcome to LaunchCode with Mike and Paul. I'm Paul Schneider, and with me is my friend and business partner, Mike Dillon. Mike, how are you?
Hey, doing great. Obviously, look at the scenery.
I know, I like it. I feel like stuck here in the house. It's cold here in Phoenix, and I want to be where you are, man.
I feel overdressed.
Yes, I know. I like the Elastiforce sweatshirt there. I feel a little underdressed today.
Properly branded, properly ready to roll. Let's get this thing going.
I love it. I love it. Well, we probably should tell people why we're even doing this. So, for those people out there that know us, they probably know that Mike and I started a software development company. Yeah, let me tell you what we're doing. We started a software development company, and part of what we had talked about in doing this company was that we wanted to make it fun. We wanted to make it so that we weren't just focusing on getting to this level or winning these accounts, but just having fun along the way and having people join us in this little adventure that we're going to go on. I'm sure there'll be a couple of oh crap moments as we're starting it, and I'm sure we'll do things great. There are some things that won't go so well, but we're going to share them all. And for those people that are in our little niche, our ERP, Oracle, PeopleSoft world, we're going to have some great guests on and talk about some really fun things. And for people who aren't in that world, I still think it'll be interesting because you've built a lot of organizations and I've built some organizations. And I think just following us as we build this company from really scratch might be interesting to some people. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and it's so much about the journey, right? So, if you think about our careers over the many years, right? 25, 30 years, um, it's always been great when you have great people you're working with, you have customers that actually have mutual respect and you're really partnering with them. There's a trust factor, one of our key tenets is trust. And I think at the end of the day, people, if you have the competence, the next piece that's really harder to gauge is really, can I trust these people to deliver what they said they're going to deliver? And we're going to deliver interesting solutions. It's a great, I'd say, fork in the road in terms of technology with AI, and we want to be at the forefront of it. So it's the right time for us. Obviously, Oracle and PeopleSoft products are key, but we're going to be building, like you said, enjoying the journey and very much looking forward to it. We're early stages, and we're going to tell you about the ups and downs along the way.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you touched upon AI, and I know that's something that we've really been kind of focusing on because it seems like there's a real crossroads going on in technology right now where, the internet certainly just changed the world. It changed everything and the way people did business, and AI kind of feels that same way. And I think at least for me, and I know you have your own reasons for wanting to start Elastiforce, but part of it is to just be a part of that. I mean, I was too young at the beginning of the internet to really do anything about it other than play some games and try and write some very simple programs. But this is an opportunity to see, well, gosh, what could we use with AI that could actually change the industries that we understand? And that's what's really kind of exciting about
Yeah, it's no different than all the major transformations we've seen, from mainframe to client server to internet, the move to cloud, whatever. Now it's been 15 years. It's hard to think about that, or even maybe a little bit longer. But that whole progression was super fascinating. And the cloud, we know from everything, from the way that we get music delivered, the way that we save files. And the way we collaborate, right? It's just transformational. We don't know yet where AI is going to go, and I think that's part of the excitement of the journey. You don't actually know what's at the end of the tunnel. You do know a few things, though. You certainly want to take an ethical approach to it, right? I think human-centric is important, and we've stated that multiple times that it is going to be AI efficiencies, but you need human touch to it. You need policies and procedures to make sure that you're not displacing, not doing things that would be morally just wrong, right? So there's a lot to that. And then private data sets, right? Everybody can scour the internet for data, but I think as we move into private data sets and being able to have AI get fed proper information without bias as much as that's possible is really important. And certainly we're going to be at the forefront of doing that.
Yeah, 100%. Well, maybe we should talk a little bit about just who we are. So some of those folks that clicked on it and like, well, this looks kind of interesting. Let's see what these two guys are all about. Why don't you just tell people a little bit about your background?
Sure. Like, how did I get into this? So the interesting journey is I thought I was going to be a professor of French history, and I had this vision of drinking red wine in the south of France and reading old manuscripts, and I realized I was completely unrealistic and delusional. And
Wow.
there was this whole thing called research or perish. If you want to be at an elite institution, I decided that wasn't going to be my journey. So worked in higher ed for 7 years in the administration, got an MA in higher ed administration, and then fortunately stumbled into a startup, which was some good friends had initiated coming out of UCLA, and Dave Duffield funded, and we started building the Campus Solutions student system. And that was just a fantastic journey, a launch of a career, because really I've spent most of my career implementing that product, being a reseller for it in the UK, landing Cambridge University and a variety of other very large universities in the UK. And at one point was able to live there not too many years ago. Now it's 8 years. And now looking forward to, Oracle's Student Cloud product, which is, according to the Tambellini report, is at the forefront of vision for student systems for the next generation of cloud student systems. So exciting times. And how about you, Paul? I mean, your journey has been one of really being an entrepreneur, building companies, selling companies, and in a variety of different sort of industries and solutions. Like, nothing's been the same for you.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the fun part about it. My very first opportunity, or very first, I guess, dipping my toe into entrepreneurship, was doing a dog training CD-ROM with actually our mutual friend Scott. And to the point where we went to the library, bought books or got books on how to train your dog. And we would train our own dogs. And then we would actually videotape them and then add them into Macromedia, if that's even still around anymore. And we said, we're going to sell this dog training CD-ROM. And the whole idea behind it was that we were going to get ski boats. Like that was the whole thing that we wanted to do. That CD-ROM was absolutely horrible. It was bad. So it just so happened that that guy that I started it with was working at PeopleSoft. And some of the guys there were talking about, well, let's go ahead and start a consulting company. They're all consultants and they needed a sales guy. So Scott was like, hey, I know a guy. We met at a Taco Bell. And then we wound up, and then over the course of 53 weeks, we wound up selling through Mr. Mike Dillon here to Cyber. And that's a whole fantastic, wonderful story. And I'll tell that here in a moment. But after that, actually, I so many neat things happened through that entire time. Met my brother-in-law, who was just a friend, one of the guys that I started the company with. Didn't even really know him at the time. He became my brother-in-law. And then he and I started a software company, online community software. And so the interesting thing was that we stayed still kind of in the association user group world. So our very first customer was the higher education users group. So if anybody's been out there on the Hug Online, that was our software. If you've attended the Alliance conference for the Hug, that was our folks that were helping to plan it, that were kind of running it as far as giving you your badges and things like that. So stayed in that world, but then moved on to large companies were using our software. Also started some interventional radiology clinics along the way. A gaming trailer, did that for a period of time. That was kind of fun. So yeah, just all sorts of different things. And all of that kind of led me back to my very first boss, which was you. and
Yeah.
it's just been amazing ride, and that, it would be kind of fun to tell that story because that was, I'll tell it from my perspective, and I'd love to get your thoughts on how that whole thing happened because you could kind of write a movie about it. So I was 29 well, I was 28 when we started Isidore Group, 29 when I had met you, and we were all young guys. So we were all 29. I think the oldest one was maybe 32. So we needed some white hair or blonde hair, I guess, in your case. And some of the guys knew you, and they're like, "Hey, you got to get to know this guy, Mike Dillon." And so we got to know Mike, and great guy. We're like, "Okay, let's bring him on board. Let's make him our CEO. He'll be the face of the company because we're all just some young pups out there, and we're talking with big institutions and things, and you want to have that seniority there." So we were down at the PeopleSoft conference in New Orleans. I had meetings all set up with you as my CEO. I get to the hotel and you call me and you're like, "Hey, I got to come over to the hotel and talk to you." I'm like, okay. So you come over and you're like, "Hey, change of plans. How about we buy you?" And anybody else would be like, "That sounds great." And I'm like, "No, are you kidding me? I have all these meetings set up with you as my CEO. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do going into these meetings?" You're like, "Just hold on, come talk to our president." And so we went and we sat with him overlooking Bourbon Street. He was talking about how we can make this whole thing happen, how we can grow together and merge the two organizations, which made a ton of sense. And literally 53 weeks later from the day that we started the company, we sold the cyber. And there were so many, nothing went the way that we planned. I mean, because nobody would expect that. Nobody would expect that you would actually build a company and sell it in that amount of time. And people might think, oh, it's all very prim and proper. But the one story I do remember is for some reason your management team and my management team were at my house, and we were going to go skiing, water skiing, because I had a ski boat. Because I finally got that ski boat, so we are going to go water skiing. So you guys kind of show up in nice clothes. We're all in our swimsuits because we're going to go water skiing after this, and we're sitting outside on my little patio. And I look over to my right, and we all kind of look over at the same time. And here's my dog leaning over and taking this massive crap right next to all of us. We're all just like, okay, well, this is not the board meeting that we thought it was going to be, but hey, it worked out in the end. But I'll never forget that story.
Yeah. Fortunately, that was the only thing that stank, right? Everything else was just great, and it turned out wonderful. But I hope you progressed from Taco Bell to some finer food after the acquisition.
That's right. We did meet at Taco Bell. That was the very first meeting in the company. So it was just amazing. It was an amazing time. It was a wonderful opportunity, and truly the best part was that I got to meet you. So then when we started Elastic Forest, and I called you to see, hey, do you want to come on board? I was just delighted that you would even be interested, and so hence Elastic Forest was started. But I'm kind of curious. So why? Why did you want to do this? Like, why? I mean, you were doing great. You had a great job. Why would you want to do this?
One, again, I think you look at the opportunity. We're at another pivotal point in technology shift with AI. So that's one. But two, I'd spent most of my career, unlike you, I'd worked for other companies. Most of it was cyber. Started new business lines, started new product lines, launched into new geographies, whether that be Europe or Mexico, etc. And it was as you reflect, you're not getting any younger. If I'm going to do it, now's the time to do it, and now's the genesis really with the technology shift is the thing that was probably the trigger. But then there's a flip side of it. As we've talked this whole time, it's about the journey. Can I do this with some friends, colleagues? We've got a great group of colleagues out in India, and Mohan, who you'll meet probably in a later podcast, but great gentleman that when I was at Cyber, we grew our offshore presence from 0 to 50% of our consultancy, and adding great value, lower cost delivery, but some huge talent and industrious people. So really proud to have him as a part of the team as well. So this was the right time. Let's get some good people together, talented people. Let's go launch into a market. We don't have line of sight to where the end of the journey is going to be, but the journey itself is the destination, I would say. So I'm looking forward to it. How about you? I mean,
Well,
what inspired you to make the jump?
same kind of deal. So I was working for the company that bought the software company. Private equity had put a bunch of companies together, and so I started a division for them and ran that. And to be fair, towards the end of last year, technology really kind of the whole industry took a little bit of a downturn. There's a lot of layoffs. Happened to get caught up in that. Now, nobody wants to get caught up in a layoff. I mean, that was just, that's reality. But I felt like I had one more company in me. And I was either waiting for that company to be sold or something like this, I guess, to happen. Because I knew that I wanted to start one more company doing. You learn so much along the way, and it's nice to say, well, if I started over again, knowing now, what would I do different? How would I change things? How would I do it a little bit differently? And that's kind of, the getting laid off was the opportunity to be able to make that happen. So as much as it's no fun to get laid off, it was truly a blessing, because I probably wouldn't have left. It was a great job. It was, everything was great. I've been selling that software for literally 20 years. So, could kind of do it in my sleep. So starting another company was scary, challenging, but that's where you live, right? I mean, in those times when you're a little scared and you feel challenged, and I don't quite know how I'm going to make this happen. I know we're going to make it happen, but I don't quite know how. Well, that's where you live life. And so it was just a tremendous opportunity, great time. And so, and it's really kind of neat, because I'm a firm believer in timing. I just met this great girl, and we talk about it. I didn't just meet her; I met her, been dating her for over a year or so. But we were talking about it recently, that everything boils down to timing. Because if I would have been available, a year ago, well, you weren't available. Or if you would have been available 6 months ago, well, I wasn't available. And so this is just the right time for both of us. And when you throw in everything going on in the market, and the opportunity with AI, and just Oracle coming out with the new student platform, it's just a great time all the way around. So things just seem to kind of come together at the same time, which is great. It makes it feel like it's kind of meant to be.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's something about timing for sure. I mean, like, and sort of decision makings at forks. You could stay comfortable, right? The comfortable is easy. But all the great growth happens with challenges, and making a bit of a leap, and yeah, for sure. So for the audience, can you tell them a little bit about what you're thinking of on future shows? What are they going to learn, and how are we going to conduct this, and with all transparency, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. And hopefully there's not a whole lot of ugly, or a whole lot of dogs in the yard needing to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is this will evolve much like the company is going to evolve. And that'll kind of be the fun thing. I know what we want to accomplish. One, I think it's neat for people who are starting a company, who are maybe in the same shoes that we're in, to be able to say, okay, I'm not the only one. Yeah, these guys are having, the same issues that I'm having, so maybe there's a little bit of a kindred spirit there. For the people who are in our industry, and even for us, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to have some of the maybe Oracle executives, or executives from other companies in the space talk about them. Yes, we want to kind of talk about what they do in their companies, but more so to get to know them as people. I think sometimes, well, especially over COVID, we didn't really get an opportunity to see people anymore. And I know we're not necessarily, seeing them in person, but if you don't see people, it was really hard to get to know them. People were kind of hiding behind the Zoom, if they even had their camera on. So an opportunity to bring on guests that we find interesting, that maybe are in our ERP niche, maybe aren't, but have a great story to tell, whether it be in growing a business, whether it be in just the products and services which they offer that focus around what we do. And you even brought, I mean, we also both really, really like to cook. So the other thing that you had brought up is a cooking show where, hey, maybe one day we just say we're cooking with Mike and Paul.
And I'm sure it's going to be a good dish. So yeah, we definitely are going to mix this thing up. So it won't be the same. We'll tell you what it is in the title, so you can decide to check in or check out. But yeah, I think and it's great to interview other people that have done different things in their careers, right? Just for inspiration. And we've got some personalities lined up that will be fun. I've got one of them is a radio personality, and I'd love to have him join. It'll be probably more jokes than it will be content, but that's all good. So yeah, I hope people stick around for that.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a great first episode, and we're going to keep these all to maybe 20 to 40, 45 minutes if we really have a great guest. But we want to thank you for watching LaunchCode with Mike and Paul today. If you are looking for an Oracle and PeopleSoft managed services or software development work, visit our website at elastiforce.com. That is our gratuitous plug. So thank you all very much for joining us. Mike, it's been a pleasure. We have now episode 1 in the can, as they say.
Right on. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing your comments.
Bye.
You have been listening to LaunchCode with Mike and Paul. You can find all episodes on your favorite podcast services and on our website at elastiforce.com. In addition, if you have software development or Oracle or PeopleSoft managed service needs, visit us at elastiforce.com and let's see how we can help.